all-new Dr. Phil. A bone-chilling murder.
She shot and killed her mother just hours after Thanksgiving.
The phone call confession to her dad.
I told him that I had shot Mom. He didn't believe me.
How did you convince him?
I sent him a picture.
The exclusive prison interview.
Will she finally reveal what caused her to commit this unthinkable crime?
What happens when her family sees her face to face? Now from Portsmouth, Virginia, here's Dr. Phil.
Today, a holiday nightmare that destroyed one family forever. Thanksgiving is a time when most loved ones cherish each other. But in the early morning hours following Thanksgiving Day in 2013, the Hutson family celebration turned deadly. While her father was out shopping Black Friday sales, 19-year-old Rachel looked her very own mother in the eye and fatally shot her. She then called her father and confessed what she did. When he didn't believe her, she texted him a bone-chilling photo of her mother's body. It was a grisly crime that had friends and family asking why. Take a look.
A 19-year-old woman is behind bars because police say she murdered her mother.
She shot and killed her mother just hours after Thanksgiving.
According to the medical examiner's report, 58-year-old Susan Hutson died from a shotgun blast to the chest at close range.
Donald Hutson, shopping at Walmart, gets a chilling call from his teen daughter that she's, I guess, angry with her mom when he doesn't believe her. The daughter sends her father a confirmation text of her mom's dead body.
Chesapeake Police Fire and Rescue, help you?
I need police at my house. And you
Tell me exactly what happened.
my daughter has killed my wife, has killed her mother.
19-year-old Rachel Hutson quietly stood in a Chesapeake courtroom as a judge denied her attorney's request for bond. The defense argued his client has a history of mental illness that has gone undiagnosed for years.
Now a judge has ordered her competent enough to stand trial.
Do you still love me? Prosecutors say that's what Rachel Hutson asked her father while sitting in the back of a police cruiser. Prosecutors say Hudson's father told her he still loved her. Her response, sorry.
This week, Rachel pled guilty.
Rachel Hutson is housed here in Virginia at the Hampton Roads Regional Jail. Her defense attorney implied that caring for her ailing mother played a part in pushing her over the edge. But when Rachel testified during her trial, she said she had a different motive. She claimed she was suicidal and didn't want her mother to be burdened with the loss of a child. But Rachel's family says the real reason Rachel snapped is still a mystery to them. Today, Rachel is speaking out in an exclusive interview. Will she finally reveal what caused her to commit this unthinkable crime? And later, Rachel will come face to face with her family for the first time since she was sentenced. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm Dr. Phil. When this happened, and by this, we're talking about the night that you picked up a gun and shot your mother, that was just over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There's only one person that really knows what happened that night and why you did what you did, and that's you. So that night, you were home alone in the house with your mother.
Yes.
And you had a shotgun.
Yeah.
Where did you get the shotgun?
It had been in my house for a long time. I had an old gun safe in my closet. I think I was actually the only one who knew it was there.
When you woke up that morning, that was Thanksgiving Day, correct?
Yes.
Did you have any idea in your mind of ending your mother's life that day?
No.
Is that a day that you enjoy, Thanksgiving?
Yes.
So historically, throughout the years, was this a happy day at your home?
Yes.
And at some point, things took a turn. When did it take a turn?
About 1 o'clock in the morning.
Tell me about it.
Everyone had been really tense and upset lately in my family. Like, we were all under a lot of stress, and we had been, fussing and fighting a lot. And we had promised that we were going to get along better. And around 1 in the morning, my dad called me into his room, and he asked me what I was still doing up. I told him I had been on the computer, and we started arguing. And I remember just at that point, it felt like nothing was ever going to get better, nothing was ever going to change. It's always going to be just stress all the time. Like, I knew things weren't going to get better once my mom passed. I just knew I had bad years ahead of me.
Did you lose hope in that moment?
In that moment, it just really hit me. Everyone was just under tremendous pressure.
What was the pressure from?
My mother.
Now, when you were 13, your mother had a heart attack, right? Then when you were 15 or 16, she had another heart attack.
Yeah. She's had a lot of them over the
Right.
years.
Then she had kidney disease, and her systems were just shutting down, right?
Yeah.
She was in renal failure, congestive heart failure, so she was dying.
It was hard waking up and not knowing if she was still going to be alive that day. We were under a lot of financial stress too, and so my dad was trying to work as much as he can, and my job was supposed to be helping cleaning in the house, and I really wasn't on top of that anymore. Most of the time I was just in my bed. I was depressed.
Did you consciously wake up every day wondering if you were going to find her dead or alive?
Yeah.
Did you go into her room?
I'd have nightmares and have to get up in the middle of the night and go check. It had me to the point that I didn't even really leave the house. My friends would say, you want to go to the mall or something? And if I went with them, I'd just worry about what was happening at home.
As ugly as this may sound, were there ever times that you wished that you would find her dead so it would be over?
Sometimes. And I think sometimes my mom wished that too. I'm pretty sure that thought crossed everyone's mind.
Did you feel guilty after you would think that?
Yeah.
Did you ever say that to her in anger?
I think one time. And it really hurt her feelings, so I never said it again.
So you leave your father's room sometime after 1,
Yeah.
and then he leaves the house and you're there alone.
Yeah, he storms out of the house. He left to go, I guess, calm down.
So he storms out, and you're there now alone with your mother. Is she awake?
Yeah.
Was she hearing this argument?
Yes.
Was she part of it?
No.
Okay, so you go into your room. Take me through the process where you go into your closet and get the shotgun. How long after he left the house before you thought to go get it?
Probably about 20 minutes.
What did you say to yourself that even made you think about that gun being in your closet?
I wanted to kill myself, and I was thinking about how I would do it. And I just had an overwhelming sense of just wanting not to be there anymore.
You wanted to die.
Yeah. I thought that the quickest way would to shoot myself.
Were you sad or were you mad?
I was numb. It was like I'd cried so much I couldn't cry anymore.
So you go in the closet and get the gun?
Yeah.
When you felt your fingers go around the barrel of that gun, did it seem real to you at that moment?
No.
I mean, did you realize at that point, I'm getting ready to kill myself here?
No.
What did you think?
All I could just kept thinking was the same repeating thought that it was just going to be over, it was going to be over, and everything was going to be fine.
The pain will stop.
Yeah.
The hurt
And that
will stop.
I won't have to deal with anything anymore. It'll just be done. I don't have to worry about anybody ever again. I felt like I was part of the problem, that I wasn't being responsible enough in my life. I wasn't doing enough in the household. I felt like I was a bad daughter.
Do you think they'd be better off without you?
Yeah. I really did.
Did you write a note?
I did. I wrote a suicide note, and I'd put it in the hall.
Was that note ever found?
I don't know if the police ever picked it up. My dad, I don't think ever saw it.
What did the note say?
It said that I was sorry, and I had different instructions to where I wanted my property and my pets to go.
Was the gun loaded?
No.
So you had to put the shells in the gun?
Yeah.
Did you load it right away?
Yeah, but then I sat there for a long time.
And then what did you do?
That's when I started worrying about who exactly would find me.
Then you decided that your mother would be the one to find you?
I think she would have. If she heard the sound and not know what it was, and come to investigate.
And so you decided what?
I started thinking that by killing myself, I'd be killing her anyway. I really felt like my family would have been better off without us.
So I should just take us both now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I didn't stop to think about the consequences.
At the time, you thought, she's going to die anyway. Why make her go through all of that?
Yeah.
Why make her go through the shock of finding me, the pain?
I felt like she didn't need to know that.
So you load the gun and you walk out of your room with a loaded shotgun, and you're now looking for your mother. Do you know where she is?
She had been calling my name.
Why?
Because she knew I was upset because of my argument with my dad.
So it's now after 2 o'clock, right?
Probably.
And you walk into her room
Yeah.
and you have the shotgun.
Yeah.
And when you walked in carrying the shotgun, was she startled?
She looked like it was just another thing going wrong.
So you turn into her room, you're carrying the shotgun. What happened?
Coming up.
I called him.
What did you say?
I told him what I did.
He didn't believe you.
No.
So how did you convince him?
I sent him a picture.
How did he respond?
And later, Rachel and her family come face to face in an emotional reunion. Tomorrow on Dr. Phil. She faked her pregnancies
Accused of swindling by posing as a would-be surrogate mother.
and scammed this couple out of thousands.
I wanted to kill that woman.
You didn't pay him back all the money.
Because I can't get a job.
Now they'll face off.
After 5 months, I'm told there is no baby.
You destroyed our lives. I have no forgiveness for you.
How long do I have to be punished for this?
That's tomorrow. A daughter's confession and the shocking picture she texted Dad continues from the Hampton Roads Regional Jail in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Take me through that moment. You turn into her room. You're carrying the shotgun. What happened?
I think she said something along the lines of, "Oh, great." She was saying, like, just wait until I tell your dad about this. And she thought I was being overdramatic. She thought that I was doing something like a cry for attention.
So she said, oh, great, wait until I tell your dad.
Yeah, and I told her that I was sorry, that this was what had to happen, and she told me I was crazy.
What happened next?
I shot her.
Did she realize what was happening?
I don't think so.
Was she looking at you?
No. She was looking for her phone to call my dad.
She was looking away when you shot her?
Yeah.
Did you shoot her to keep her from making that phone call?
No. I wasn't really concerned with her finding the phone or not. I didn't think that it was going to matter.
Because you were going to kill yourself anyway?
Yeah. It was like I was pushing all those thoughts away because I felt like it was going to interrupt with me trying to kill myself.
When you shot your mother, did she die instantly?
Yeah.
How far away from her were you?
Probably a couple feet.
And you just shot her one time? Were you surprised that you actually did it?
Yeah.
A shotgun blast in a closed room is a overpowering sound. Did it disorient you?
I couldn't hear anything. It made my ears ring. And that's kind of how my thoughts were for a while, was just the ringing.
Did you go to her to see if she was dead?
No, I could tell.
How could you tell?
She wasn't moving.
Did you touch her?
No.
Did you say goodbye to her?
I told her I was sorry. I just kept saying I was sorry. I knew I was going to be sorry even before it happened. I just didn't know how bad everything was going to be.
Your plan was to shoot her and then shoot yourself.
Yeah.
So why didn't you shoot yourself?
After that happened, I went and looked at my suicide note, and it didn't seem good enough. And I was scared that my dad was going to come home, and I was going to be dead, and Mom was going to be dead, and there would still be a gun in the house. And I was scared that he would do something to himself. So I called him.
What did you say?
I told him what I did.
He didn't believe you?
No. He thought I was trying to upset him.
What did he say?
I told him that I had shot Mom. He said that he didn't believe me. And he hung up, and he called on my mom's phone. And I answered that phone too, and told him again what I did.
So you went back in her room right next to her body?
Yeah.
Tell me about how you felt.
Sick. It was unbelievably bad. I couldn't believe that what was really happening.
So you're saying it got real when you went back?
When I had to talk to my dad.
So you answered the phone, and what did he say this time?
He kept telling me to put Mom on the phone. And I kept telling him that she was dead.
What did he say?
He still didn't believe me. And I wanted him to believe me because every second of reality was unbearable. And I really wanted to hurry up and be gone. It was like every second it was getting worse.
Why was it important that he believe you?
I don't know. I just wanted him to understand. I didn't want him to think it was his fault.
So how did you convince him?
I sent him a picture.
You took a picture of her right there.
Yeah.
On the bed.
Yeah.
Graphic enough that it was obvious.
Yeah.
How did he respond?
He was asking me, how could I do this? And I told him that I was sorry. I just kept saying I was sorry, that I was going to kill myself.
What did he say?
He told me not to do that. He couldn't lose both of us.
So why did you not do it?
Because I realized that I had already just hurt my family really, really badly. And if I were to kill myself, that would hurt worse.
Did you decide not to kill yourself while you were on the phone with your father?
Yeah. And I knew that I had messed up.
Were you insane that night? Had you lost your contact with reality and reason?
Coming up.
Tell me exactly what happened.
My daughter has killed my wife, has killed her mother.
When you pulled that trigger, did you know that that was wrong? Had you ever thought about killing yourself before that night?
Yeah.
How did you try before?
A daughter's shocking confession. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues from the Hampton Roads Regional Jail in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Chesapeake Police Phone Rescue, help you?
I need police at my house. And you
Tell me exactly what happened.
my daughter has killed my wife, has killed her mother.
Were you insane that night? Had you lost your contact with reality and reason?
I think so.
When you pulled that trigger, did you know that that was wrong in that moment?
After, I knew it was wrong. I just didn't think it was going to matter because I didn't think I was going to be around much longer.
At that point, did you think, I'm going to jail?
Yeah.
At trial, your lawyers seemed to be advancing a defense that you had been burdened with taking care of your sick mother and that it was just more than you could bear and that you snapped. What you said was the problem was just the pain of watching your mother die.
I wasn't upset taking care of my mother. You know, I could see how bad she was declining and just knew that, you know, it was coming.
You say you got to where you didn't even leave the house, so one way or another, you were plugged into this 24/7.
Yeah, it was my reality.
Whereas your dad, he had to leave and go work, which did give him a break from it, where you didn't get a break from it. And your sister moved away, but then moved back. Did she help out?
She would come pick up my mom for dialysis. She was starting to do that more often, but she wasn't around that much, I don't think.
Could she have helped more?
Yeah.
Did this rob you of your childhood? Did you miss a lot of things because you had to stay there?
Yeah. But on a conscious level, I wasn't upset about it. Like, I just felt like, you know, my parents had always taken care of me. Now it was my turn to take care of them. I felt like, you know, it was necessary.
All of this started to have an effect on you. You were having problems with depression. Were you getting any treatment for your depression?
No.
Why were you not getting any treatment for it?
We didn't have the money for anything. And I felt like, you know, we're paying thousands of dollars every month on my mom's medicine to keep her alive. You know, how am I supposed to come up there and be like, oh, by the way, I'm depressed? You know, everyone was upset, and I didn't feel like I had a right to, you know, there was more important things going on.
Had you ever thought about killing yourself before that night?
Yeah.
Had you ever tried?
Yeah.
How did you try before?
One time I took a box cutter and put it all the way into my wrist and changed my mind, or more like chicken out, before I dragged it.
Was that the only other time that you tried?
When I was younger, probably about 14, I had taken a whole big bottle of Aleve.
Right.
And my sister did know about that time, because she was home. I told her, and I threw up everything.
Should you be in jail?
Yes.
Should you be in jail for 18 years?
Yes.
Are you a threat?
Coming up, what happens when Rachel's family see her face to face? A daughter's shocking confession. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues from the Hampton Roads Regional Jail in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Should you be in jail?
Yes.
Should you be in jail for 18 years?
Yes.
If you were out, are you a threat to your father and sister?
No.
Are they afraid of you?
I don't know. My sister is. I think my dad understands a little more than he used to. When this first happened, I was depressed, but I was trying to hold it together for everyone else. They didn't need to, you know, worry about me too. And so I was quiet about it. And the reason why my dad is scared is because he didn't know it was happening the first time, so he reasons, how would I know if it was happening again?
I couldn't disagree with you more. I think it does matter that you were depressed. I think it does matter that you tried to kill yourself on 2 prior occasions and you didn't think you were important enough to tell anyone. And now your family thinks this just came out of the blue, and I think it's important that they understand this didn't come out of nowhere. This is a chronic, clinical, morbid depression preceded by 2 prior suicide attempts with someone that finally it broke. I'm not trying to make excuses for you, and I'm not trying to trivialize this, and I'm not trying to say that you made a good choice, because you made a terrible choice. And I think had you gotten proper treatment along the way, you might have never gotten in this situation to begin with. And I don't want them thinking this just came out of the blue and therefore they need to be afraid of you for all the days of their life. I would hate for you to just be incarcerated and not get the kind of care and treatment that you need. You're worth more than that. You deserve better than that. Your family deserves better than that. I think everybody deserves a second chance. Again, I'm not trying to excuse what you did. What you did was a horribly bad choice. You did not have the right to decide for your mother when she ended her life, however labored and difficult her life course was.
I know that.
And I also don't think you have the right to end your life. I think life is a precious gift, and what you got to do is make the most out of it. But I also understand how tortured depression can be, and people don't get that sometimes. But when it's our loved one that kills a loved one, it's like they're really tortured, they're really confused, they don't know how to sort that out. I want to help them with that. If you had a chance to do that night over again, you wouldn't shoot her again, would you?
No. I would have called the police and told them I was suicidal and had them come pick me up.
I have this funny belief that once we leave this world, that we are permitted to watch over our loved ones that we leave behind. If your mother's dialed into this interview right now, what do you have to say to her?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry and that I love her.
Look at that camera right there and tell your mother what you want her to know.
I'm sorry. And I wish I could take it back. And that I wish it would have been different. And I didn't want it to be like this at all. And then I miss her a lot. I miss her every day. I think about her. I'm gonna do better, and I'm gonna do something with my life to fix what I've done. I don't want to be known for this. I want to be known for something better. And it seems really far away and really impossible, but one day I want my parents to be able to be proud of me.
You got to know that your dad and sister care about you, or they wouldn't be here today. They wouldn't be here trying to find a way to put this family back together. They want you in the family. You get that, right?
Yeah.
Coming up.
Should she be in jail?
No, she should be in the psychiatric ward somewhere at the state hospital, not in jail.
Do you think she was insane that night?
Tomorrow on Dr. Phil. She faked her pregnancies
Accused of swindling by posing as a would-be surrogate mother.
and scammed this couple out of thousands.
I wanted to kill that woman.
You didn't pay him back all the money.
Because I can't get a job.
Now they'll face off.
After 5 months, I'm told there is no baby.
You destroyed our lives. I have no forgiveness for you.
How long do I have to be punished for this?
That's tomorrow. A daughter's confession and the shocking picture she texted Dad continues from the Hampton Roads Regional Jail in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Donald Hutson says his daughter Rachel was his best friend, and he has been struggling to accept that the daughter he loves so much, the daughter he'd do anything to protect, is also the murderer who killed his wife in cold blood. Sarah Hutson lost 2 people that fateful day, her mother Susan and her sister Rachel. Donald is so protective of Rachel that after she confessed to him, he went home to her before calling 911. He says he wanted to get to his daughter before the police did because he was worried she would hurt herself or they would hurt her. Donald is supportive of his daughter to this very day. In this surreal night, I do want to ask you 2 things that help me understand. When she sent you that picture, what went through your mind?
I thought it was a joke at first. I thought she was just mad.
Thought she was just gigging you? And...
Yeah, well, we'd had a little bit of a disagreement. She wasn't doing chores and things like she should have been doing in the house, so I took her computer privileges away, and she didn't react very well to it. And I went shopping. It was Black Friday, and I was out early in the morning. I thought I was going to get a deal, and I got a phone call from her. What immediately went through my mind was she said she was going to kill herself And if I hung up the phone, she was going to do it. If I called the police, she was going to do it. So I drove home because I felt that I could talk her down. And, you know, and then you've got this lingering in the back of your mind, this is a bad joke. This is a Photoshop picture or something, you know, it's not real.
Did y'all feel any sense of urgency to try to get in the house to her to see if she could be saved, or was...
You could tell by the picture she was already gone.
How did the two of you feel when you actually saw her body?
For me, it was such a state of shock in the whole situation, and I was worried about her doing something, you know, stupid to herself, and I was worried about her out there with her alone for 30 seconds or whatever it was I was in the house. I was worried about all of that. I think you went somewhere where you were protected or safe in your mind, and you worked what you had to do.
So you were in task mode at
Yes.
that point. Did you actually see your body in the house?
I did, yeah. After he went in and looked, I went in too. I just kind of figured it wouldn't be real to me unless I did, and that I might not be able to get the kind of closure that I need. And I mean, I just stood in the doorway for quite some time, and I just remember that I just wanted to hold her hand and tell her it was okay. But I knew that I wouldn't do anything, so then I went back outside.
Sorry that you had to go through that. Tell me why you made the decision to do the cleanup yourself.
Just didn't want anybody in the house. I'm just kind of a private person, and I just did it myself. I felt it would help me go through it and finalize it, and I just didn't want to come back in and it was gone. You know, I mean, I wanted to do it myself. She was my wife, and it should have been me.
Did you know she had a shotgun in the house?
No.
She said it had been in her closet forever.
Yeah. She only had 2 shells. There were more shells in the house, but she didn't know where they were, or I didn't find those until I was cleaning the house out.
Should she be in jail?
No, she should be in the psychiatric ward somewhere at the state hospital, not in jail.
Do you think she was insane that night?
Yes. When we had the argument over the computer, she tried to stop me from passwording it, and she tried to grab me, and I just pushed her back, and I said, no, we're not doing this. At that moment, it was like she left and somebody else was there. She just had this look like I had ended the world for her. I had never seen anything like that before, and it was at that point she just went to wherever she went to do this.
The conversations that I had with her while we waited a little bit for the police to come, she was just so calm the way she was talking about it, and it didn't really seem like her at all.
So you both think she should be in some type of psychiatric facility?
She needs help. She doesn't need just to be locked away like an animal. I mean, she has nothing prior to this, no record or violence or trouble at school, nothing, like, at all. This just came out of nowhere.
Are you afraid of her?
Coming up, Rachel and her family come face to face in an emotional reunion. Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply. A daughter's shocking confession. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
Chesapeake court documents show Hutson was admitted to Central State Hospital this summer. In a letter to the judge about 2 months ago, hospital officials said they found little evidence of psychotic symptoms. The letter states Hutson had the ability to control her outbursts of impulsive, aggressive, or destructive behaviors when she chooses.
Are you afraid of her?
Yeah, unless she gets some help and I can find out where she's mentally at, it's going to be difficult to have her back in the house, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't see this coming, how could we see it again? She hides it very well.
You two both have to be conflicted because you love her, but we tend to have really bad feelings for anybody that kills our loved ones. If this had been a drunk driver,
you could hate him.
You just hate him. But then here you've got a loved one killing a loved one.
Right.
And so...
How do you feel?
How do you sort that out?
She was very ill before. You know, we had talked about life and going on and what, you know, and everything. So I think she would want me to not hate her.
But saying that and then affecting it are two different things, and then having the fear on top of it, it affects you not only in your relationship with her, it really causes you to pull back and lose trust across the board. You're grieving the loss of your wife and your mother, but it's hard to really do that because you've also now lost your daughter and your sister for all of these years, plus you've got an anger overlay and confusion. I want to help with all that going forward, and the only way to do that is to help sort things out with her as well. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to start to try to orchestrate some of this stuff, and I would like to add her back to the conversation.
Hey. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
How long has it been since everybody's been together at one time in the same room?
2 years for her and a year and a half for me when she was at the state hospital.
I'm absolutely about the reunification of family, so I'm glad that I get to be here when you're all in the same room together. This is an awkward and challenging family dynamic, right? Because you love your father and you love your sister, and they've both made it very clear to me that they love you. But it's one of those things where I've said, I love my daughter, but she did kill my wife. I love my sister, but she did kill my mother. And that's a clash of values. That doesn't just resolve itself. It has to be worked on. And both of you feel like this was so out of character for her and it just came out of the blue that therefore it could happen again. That's where we are, right?
Yeah.
What do you want them to understand?
That I love you guys. I'm not going to hurt you guys anymore, I promise.
Well, you have to understand it's going to take time.
I know, and I understand that. I'm not pressing that. You guys just being here for me right now. Yes. That's good enough. But I love you guys.
Love you too.
I love you.
You know, there's that old adage that time heals all wounds, and I just don't believe that. I mean, it's not the passage of time, it's what you do with that time. And one of the things that I've picked up real clearly here is that you guys say, this just came out of the blue. Actually, it didn't come out of the blue. She has been chronically depressed for a long, long time. And I think she's had a lot of suicidal ideation. And at no time did she ever make a declaration about this. At no time through this did she ever get any treatment until finally it rears its ugly head. And what people do when it finally gets to the point they can't take it is they do what's called dissociation, where they just pull out. And you say she looked down, looked back up, and it was a completely different person?
Yes.
That's called dissociation.
I'll never forget that look.
But in that moment, they are a different person with a different value system, with a different yardstick of measuring right versus wrong. And I'm not saying the murder was predictable, but I'm telling you the break, the snap was predictable. By the time she is folded back into this family unit, I don't think you are going to have to be afraid that something's going to come out of the blue. And the other point I want to make, I think sometimes we really have to understand that you don't have to love everything somebody does to love that person. What she did was a hateful thing. And I told her straight up, depressed, not depressed, whatever. She did not have the right to make the decision to end her mother's life that night. Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. It's important that you know it is not a betrayal of your mother. It is not a betrayal of your wife to make amends with your daughter and your sister. That is not a betrayal.
I don't feel that it is.
No, neither do I. I haven't stopped loving her since it happened. I couldn't. I mean, she's still her. I still love her very much. I know that what she did was wrong, but I'll never stop loving her.
She needs that, and you need it so you don't feel like you've bailed on her and you haven't lost your mother and your sister. I think you're going to find most people are going to totally get why you stand by her. And we're going to really work to get you the help that you need. And I hope you'll let me get you guys the very careful and specific professional help to do this. Just let us do that as our gift to you guys. I know you've only seen each other through glass since this has all been, and the guards did give us permission to say you can have contact here so you can hug your daughter and your sister.
It's okay. I know. It's okay.
Thank you again so much. Rachel Hutson was sentenced to 50 years in prison with 35 years suspended. She will serve a total of 18 years. Her defense attorney argued that she suffered from mental illness that went undiagnosed for years. Hopefully, while serving her time, Rachel will receive the mental health care she so desperately needs. We will, of course, support Rachel's family, who are surviving this awful crime one day at a time. We wish them hope and healing in the future. I want to give a very special thanks to the staff at Hampton Roads Regional Jail in Portsmouth, Virginia, especially Captain Anna Casey, Master Jail Officers Patricia Williams, Natasha Perry, and Vicki Limbley, and Colonel Taylor, as well as Superintendent Simons. If someone in your family is exhibiting signs of mental illness, go to drphil.com. We'll have information there that gives you some sense of what you might do to help them deal with that, to reach out to the resources, and maybe you can avoid some catastrophic event in your own life. Thanks for watching.